sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ sakriteva prapannāya tavāsmīti ca yāchate abhayam sarvabhūtebhyo dadāmyetad vratam mama sthite manasi sushpaste sharire satiyo naraha dhatu samye site smarta vishwarupam cha mamajam tatastam riyamanam tu kashta pashana sannibham aham smarami madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. What a glorious occasion. What a momentous day. Wish you all a very happy new year. Or should I say, wish you all a very happy and blissful Charama Shloka day. It has been a glorious journey for all of us. A journey over 10 years, over 500 sessions to reach this very summit. To reach this very summit, only to scale yet another summit. How blessed we are. It is indeed Krishna's abundant blessings, his nirhetuka kripa, causeless and ceaseless mercy, that we have had such a glorious journey. A journey which has been uninterrupted. An extraordinary journey of transformation. A journey where we are all immersed in the nectarine ocean of Krishna Bhakti. It is just not possible for us to count our blessings. We have all assembled today to relish the crescendo of the song Celestial, Charama Shloka. Our Shastras celebrate 3 shlokas as Charama Shlokas. Sri Krishna Charama Shloka, Sri Rama Charama Shloka, Sri Varaha Charama Shloka. 3 pillars of Prapatti Shastra, of Saranagati Shastra, which give us the very essence of Vedantas. While Bhagavan in his Krishnavatara through the Gita gives us the most definitive injunction, the most definitive prescription. Through his declaration, he gives us the assurance of all assurances. In the Ramavatara, he gives us another assurance of unfailing protection through the Rama Charama Shloka, constantly reminding us that he and he alone is our protector. And through Varaha Charama Shloka, he gives us that scintillating assurance of Antima Smriti Varjana. Of these 3 Charama Shlokas, the Krishna Charama Shloka is very, very special because it is the very summit of the Gita Shastras. Saranagati is the law, is a formula of effortless accomplishment. Sharanagati is the formula to achieve the maximum with the minimum or even zero effort. Sharanagati is the principle of offering ourselves completely to Bhagavan. What is Sharanagati? Sometimes we translate it as giving up. So giving up has a negative connotation of caving in to a circumstance. Sharanagati is the blissful process of letting go and eventually letting God. Saranagati is about stopping to play God and let God do his business. Sharanagati is recognizing that Bhagavan knows what is best for us. Sharanagati, therefore, is central to all our Shastras, but it is the most confidential knowledge. And that is why he reserves to share this most confidential knowledge in the 18th chapter, and that too towards the end, the 66th shloka of the 18th chapter in the Gita. What is Sharanagati? How do we define Sharanagati? Prapatti lakshana, Sharanagati lakshana. Ahamasmi aparadhanamalayoho akinchano agatihi tvameva upaya bhuto me prarthanamatihi sharanagatihi. A very powerful definition of Sharanagati from the Ahirbhujya Samhita. Ahamasmi aparadhanamalayoho akinchano agatihi tvameva upaya bhuto me prarthanamatihi. Recognizing our utter helplessness, recognizing our limitations, recognizing our inadequacies, being aware of our incapabilities and limitations. Ahamasmi aparadhanamalayoho. Acknowledging and recognizing that we are all bundles of imperfections. Aparadhanamalayoho akinchano agatihi. Being aware that we are completely helpless and devoid of any refuge. And in that state, being blissfully aware that Bhagavan alone is the upaya. Tvameva upaya bhuto me prarthanamatihi. That resolute state of mind, accepting Bhagavan as the means to the goal, the only means to the goal. Tvameva eva, evakara is very important. Tvameva upaya bhuto me bhaveti prarthanamatihi sharanagatihi. It is missing out one apostrophe that results in a major catastrophe. The major catastrophe called samsara is an outcome of all of us missing out on one apostrophe. What is that apostrophe? We all act and think we are gods. All that we need to do is add one simple apostrophe. We are gods with one apostrophe. We belong to him. The Gita Shastra helps us to understand our identity. Who am I? Not only helps us understand our identity, also helps us to understand our relationship with this universe and our relationship with the Creator, Bhagavan. Whose am I? Both are equally important. And also gives us the answer as to where am I? in this journey of life. Recognize the reality of nature and accordingly endeavor to fulfill the mission and the very purpose of life. Therefore, Saranagati becomes so very important, because once we have the Sambandha Jnana, the most important jnana, knowledge of Sambandha, our relationship with Bhagavan on the one hand, and our relationship with this universe, this creation on the other hand. This awareness of this relationship is so very important, because most often we question, what is the need to worship Him? What is the need to love Him? What is the need to serve Him? These questions arise because of the ignorance of the Sambandha Jnana. Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhutashayastitaha ahamadischa madhyamcha bhutanam antayevacha mamaivaamsho jivaloke jivabhutas sanatanaha manaha shashtani indriyani prakritistani karshati. Krishna in the 10th chapter and the 15th chapter clearly explains to us the Sambandha. What is the relationship between me and Bhagavan? And he also clearly demonstrates how he is distinct and different from every other entity that we can think of. Dvavimau purushau loke ksharaschaksharayeva ksharaha sarvabhutani kutastaha aksharavuchyate uttama purushastvanyah paramatmeti udahritaha yo lokatrayamavishya bibharti avyaya ishvaraha. Who am I? And who is Krishna? Krishna is my Swami. I am his Dasa. He is the Sarva-seshi. I am his Sesha. I am just a utility. I exist for him and him alone. The Sesha-seshi Sambandha is so very important to understand. I have no existence, independent existence of my own. I am inseparable from him. I am just a utility to him. He is sarva-niyanta. I am niyamyam. Everything is governed, ordained by him. He is the supreme controller. He is the controller. I am the controlled. He is adhara. I am adheya. He is the supporter. I am supported. And therefore, he is the shariri. I am the sharira. I am an inseparable part of an organic whole, which is Bhagavan. And when we have this awareness of this Sambandha Jnana, then it becomes crystal clear as to what is our Dharma, what is our duty in life. The part has no other business other than serving the whole to which it belongs. And in the process of serving the whole, the part's success is taken care of. Now, Sambandha Jnana also brings us a Shoka. We may all think Jnana is supposed to relieve us of our Shoka. But how can Sambandha Jnana bring us Shoka? Sambandha Jnana brings us Samsara Shoka. Samsaram sagaram ghoram ananta klesha bhajanam. Ananta klesha bhajanam. Jitante stotra in Rigveda Khila talks about what samsara is all about. Samsaram ghoram ananta klesha bhajanam. A place of perennial adversities. Now, samsara Shloka, the moment we realize that the Sambandha, we also realize that Bhagavan is the goal. Until then, we were blissfully unaware of our goal in life. The moment the realization dawns, now we have that longing. We know that our longing has been misdirected towards the world, which will never get fulfilled. There is a small opportunity for us available for the fulfillment of the deepest longing that we have. What is the deepest longing that all of us have? eternal existence, everlasting love. This is the deepest longing that all of us have. Every other desire is a manifestation of this. Now, the moment we have the sambandha jnana, we also see a ray of hope. But at the same time, we are also challenged. Suddenly, crossing over this ocean of samsara looks formidable. Until then, samsara, we fantasize samsara as a jacuzzi. Then we realize it's not a jacuzzi, it's a whirlpool. Without the sambandha jnana, we have been made to believe that we are in a jacuzzi trying to enjoy the place, and suddenly we realize that we are stuck in a whirlpool and we need to get out. How do I get out? We are drowning. Therefore, this sambandha jnana results in a shoka. And when we are in shoka, there is a shloka that is available to remove the shoka. Arjuna was in shoka, and therefore Krishna gave him Charama Shloka. But then the prerequisite for relishing Charama Shloka is to have the shoka. If there is no shoka, there is no need for shloka. But all of us mumukshus here on the journey of the Gita, we all have samsara shoka. This is a positive shoka to have. This is what acharyas call as nirveda. Some kind of a fear, positive fear, fear of danger. And it is in that context. Krishna spent 18 chapters trying to relieve Arjuna's shoka, to make him fearless, to completely relieve him of all the grief that was finally decided that he should share that ultimate knowledge, that ultimate injunction, which will forever relieve his shoka. And in that process, using Arjuna as a vraja, Bhagavan gives Charama Shloka. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. What is Saranagati? Śharaṇaṁ, agati. Śharaṇaṁ, shelter. Śharaṇaṁ, refuge. Śharaṇaṁ, upaya, means agati, take, go, come. Essentially taking the shelter of Bhagavan. Saranagati is also called Prapatti. A very beautiful word that clearly gives us the essence of Saranagati. Prapad. Prapad. Pad means to move. Prapad, to move in the right direction, which is essentially the direction of the lotus feet of Bhagavan. To fall down to the lotus feet of Bhagavan is Prapatti, submission, unconditional submission to Bhagavan. The shortest distance between any problem and its solution is the distance between our head and Bhagavan's feet. The shortest distance between any problem and its solution is the distance between Bhagavan's feet and our head. So Prapatti, when we do every kind of problem, we find a solution. Prapatti. Nyasa, another beautiful word for Saranagati and Prapatti. Nyasa means placing. Nyasa means depositing. Placing the responsibility on Bhagavan's shoulder. Essentially transferring the responsibility from our shoulders to Bhagavan's shoulders. Nyasa can also mean depositing. Depositing what? Depositing means we immediately think of taking money and depositing it in the bank. No, depositing means depositing what we have stolen. Deposit back to where it belongs to the owner. Immediately we ask this question. This is only applicable to those who steal. No, we are all good people, very noble, very virtuous. We don't steal. But we are robbers, stealers, and we have stolen something which we need to deposit, to give it back to the rightful owner. Yo anyata santam atmanam pratipadyate. Kim tena nakritam papam choreda atma apaharinam. Mahabharata The Dharma Shastra talks about how we are all people who steal. What do we steal? Kim terana kritam papam chorena atmapaharinam. We have stolen our own atmas. What does it mean by stealing our own atma? Which means believing the myth that we are all independent and our own pleasure is the summum bonum of life. We can have pleasure, we can enjoy on our own. That tantamounts to stealing. So therefore, nyasa, bharanyasa, they say, transferring responsibility to Bhagavan. Atma nivedana, depositing what we have stolen back to the rightful owner, Paramatma. And therefore, Saranagati is a means for us to return what is stolen to him. Saranagati is a means. The biggest challenge, the shoka that we have, the moment we realize that we have the sambandha jnana, the biggest shoka is, now that I understand that I need to serve Bhagavan and I am his servant, but it becomes very difficult for me to actually act like a servant, because I thought until now I am a master. I am a master. How can I be a servant? Because we all think we are all masters, without realizing that we have already been servants of our desires, servants of this world. And servitude, to do servitude, anadikala papa become obstacles. It is not easy to prostrate. Forget about physical prostration. Mentally prostrating is not easy at all, because we cannot submit ourselves. Our ego does not let us submit to anyone. How can we submit ourselves to the unseen Krishna? How can we be his servants? How can we practice servitude? Anadikala papa comes as obstacles. Therefore, Krishna says, because you have the shoka of how to overcome these obstacles, Krishna says, ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. These obstacles will be taken care of by me. śhuchaḥ. You don't need to worry. I'm happy that finally you realized our relationship. This is what I've been waiting for. For several lifetimes, I've been traveling with you all the time. We often use our popular analogy, the car-body analogy, to understand our journeys. Ahankar is, I am not my car. I am not my body. That's stage one. Then we realize, I am not my car. I am not the car. The car is a vehicle to go to a destination. I am the driver. Or am I not the driver? Then I realize, yes, I am the driver only until I reach the destination. After I reach the destination, I am not the driver. I am different. The car is different. Nobody takes the car inside the home. You park and then walk. So until I reach the destination, I am the driver. So therefore, I am not a natural driver. I become a driver just because I am inside the car and I need to drive the vehicle. This is akartritva anusandhana of ascribing doership to the car, to the body. And then I slowly realize that I am not alone driving this car. There is somebody who has been accompanying me all the time. Now and then he seems to be giving some good suggestions as to what routes I should take. It is I who have been ignoring him all the time. He has been asking me to take the right. I've been always taking the left. And then I'm now lost. And now how do I drive through this unknown, challenging terrain? And then I realize that one who has been accompanying me has always been ready to take over the steering wheel and drive. And then finally, recognizing my helplessness, recognizing my incapability of driving through the most difficult terrain called life, I turn towards him and say, hey, can you take over and drive? This is Saranagati. And then when he starts to drive, when Krishna, who is the best driver that is ever possible, when he starts to drive, we start to enjoy the ride. That is when we suddenly notice how beautiful this world is. Until then, The beauty of the world was completely missed out because we were in another kind of a shoka, another kind of a fear. And now the ride becomes so very beautiful, and then we are assured that this driver knows the destination because he is going to his home, and in that process he is also taking me to his home, to my home, where I belong to. So Krishna, looking at Arjuna, says, let me give you a vidhi. That is why Charama Shloka is celebrated as a vidhi rahasya, vidhi, injunction, prescription. A prescription that will address your disease, your samsara shoka. Bhaktya paramaya vapi prapatya va mahamune prapyoham anyata prapyah mama kainkarya lipshubihi. Essentially, when we look at the means to the ultimate goal, and when we bring all the shastras together, we see two paths. Bhaktya paramaya vapi prapatya va mahamune. One is the path of bhakti yoga, the other is the path of prapatti yoga. What is bhakti yoga? What is prapatti? Bhakti yoga is called sadhyopaya. Sadhya upaya. Those of you have paper and pencil, you can note down, because some of these terms are important to register. Because when we understand them, it becomes so very easy and simple. The terms may seem daunting. Sadhya upaya. What is upaya? Upaya is the means to the goal. Sadhya upaya. That which is made possible through my self-effort. Therefore, there is one way which is my self-effort. Bhakti yoga involves my self-effort. Therefore, it is sadhya yoga, sadhya upaya, sadhya upaya. On the other hand, there is another upaya, which is siddha upaya, siddhopaya. So therefore, two upayas, sadhyopaya, siddhopaya. Bhakti yoga is sadhyopaya. Because to practice bhakti yoga, we need various other ancillaries. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, all the sadhanas that we need to do. Not easy at all. It's like climbing the stairs to reach the terrace. Then there is siddhopaya. It's like taking the escalator and coming all the way to the terrace. No effort. I just get in. Somebody else is also switching on. I don't need to switch on. Now there is a man inside the lift. No effort whatsoever. All that I need to do is svikara. I need to just accept the lift. I get into the lift. Blissfully, I can even play music and be very blissful through the journey. And then that is siddhopa. Siddha means that which is already there, existing. There is no need for my effort to create that. And what is that which is eternally existing, ever existing, waiting for us to accept? Bhagavan's lotus feet. Prapatti is surrendering to Bhagavan's lotus feet, and his lotus feet is siddhopaya. So we have two important terms, sadhyopaya, siddhopaya. Also, when we talk about Saranagati, Prapatti, we also need to understand there are two types of Prapatti. Because when we relish the Charama Shloka, understanding the two types of Saranagati, two types of Prapatti also becomes important. What are these two types of Prapatti? Anga Prapatti, Angi Prapatti. Anga, Angi. Anga means part, limb. Angi means body, whole. Now, what is Anga Prapatti? When I surrender to Krishna, Krishna will ensure that all the papas that obstruct my practice of bhakti, all the obstacles to the practice of bhakti, Krishna removes. So, Prapatti becomes Anga to bhakti. That is Anga Prapatti. Angi Prapatti means Prapatti itself is a self-sufficient soul means. Now, we may ask, is there a conflict between Bhakti and Prapatti? How are they related? It is important to understand, even in Bhakti Yoga, we do Prapatti. Only when we do Saranagati, Bhakti Yoga fructifies, because otherwise we cannot cross over our own bundles of papas. That's why Krishna in the 7th chapter says, Daivi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Māmevaye Prapadyante. There, the Saranagati is for us to practice Bhakti Yoga without any obstacles. So therefore, even in Bhakti, there is Saranagati. Is there Bhakti in Saranagati? Yes. A Prapanna, once we surrender, what happens? After surrender, what? Today I surrender to Krishna. After that, what do? I continue to be immersed in his Bhagavad Gunanubhava, doing kainkariya to him in Bhakti. That is why Bhakti leads to Mukti, and Bhakti qualifies the blissful state of Mukti. So both Bhakti is the means, Bhakti is the goal. So we see the relationship between Bhakti and Prapatti. If we look at great examples from our Itihasas and Puranas, when we talk of supreme bhaktas, those who have surrendered to Krishna, what are the examples that come to our mind? Gajendra, Guha, Vibhishana, the Gopikas of Vraja. Now, when we look at all of these examples, there is one thing which is common to all of them. Shabari, one thing what is common, none of them are Brahmanas. None of them have performed Karma Yoga. None of them have performed Nyaya Yoga. How are they able to be in such blissful state of bhakti? It is because they've all done Saranagati, and after doing Saranagati, they are blissfully connected to Krishna without any obstacles. That unending, eternal, loving servitude to Krishna is only possible because they are all done Saranagati. Now, before we dive into sarva-dharmān parityajya, it is also important for us to relish some of the examples from our Itihasas and Puranas to understand the significance of Saranagati and Prapatti. So the first example that comes to my mind, obviously, is the example of Gajendra. Now, Gajendra, the king of elephants, so powerful, had so much of influence. The entire forest was ruled by Gajendra. Huge herd of elephants, and everything at his beck and command. Several wives, several children, a very happy family, abundance of resources, physical strength, unimaginable physical strength. But when the calamity struck, none of these material assets, none of his capabilities came to his rescue. When the calamity struck in the form of a crocodile, the crocodile trapped Gajendra, and a battle ensued, a struggle ensued between Gajendra and the crocodile. Went on and on and on for ages. Gajendra used all of its might, all of the resources available. And then finally realization dawned. Because Gajendra was Indradyumna in the previous life, the teaching that ultimately Bhagavan is the protector, that awareness arose. He Paramapurusha, He Paresha, Yosmat Parasmat Chapparaha, Tam Prapadhe Swayambhuvam. When Gajendra finally called out, Yosmat Parasmat Chapparaha, everyone, all the devatas were waiting to see how to support, how to help. But when Gajendra called out, He Paresha, He Paramapurusha, then Narayana immediately rushed to Gajendra's rescue. Mounted on Garuda. We all think he was mounted on Garuda and Garuda was carrying him. But the speed of Garuda at that time was not enough for Bhagavan, because he wanted to instantaneously rescue Gajendra, and it seems Bhagavan was carrying Garuda because he was in haste. Garuda's speed. Garuda is supposed to be the fastest, but that was not enough. So when he rushed, Bhagavan was carrying Garuda and he was carrying all his Divyayudas, rushing to Gajendra. Why? Because the moment from far away when Gajendra sees him with all the Divyayudas, Gajendra is assured, now I'm going to be rescued. That call for protection, Gajendra, Saranagati, instantaneously resulted in demonstration of that unfailing protection of Bhagavan. When we think of Bhagavan's unfailing protection, what else can come to our mind other than Draupadi? Kauravarnava māmekaṁ yuddharasva janardana. Draupadi, subject to unimaginable emotional torture, humiliation of unimaginable proportions, unimaginable magnitude. She was the most dishonored and she emerged as the most honored because of her Krishna Bhakti, because of her surrender to Krishna. When the evil Dushasana was continuing to humiliate her and disrobe her, Draupadi struggled, looking out for help from everywhere. She was holding on to her sari. Kauravarnava magnam mam yuddharasva janardana. Hey Janardana, unfortunately for her, Janardana, Krishna, was not in Hastinapura at that time. Hey Krishna, I am sinking in this dirty ocean of Kauravas. Kauravarnava magnam mam yuddharasva janardana. She was holding on. She was praying to Krishna. She was holding on to the sari, struggling to protect herself. Then wisdom dawned. And then she let go of the sari and Shanka Chakra Gadapane Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam. Then and there, Krishna came to her rescue. Draupadi's Sharanagati is a supreme example of Bhagavan's unfailing protection. There are also interesting examples from our Itihasas where Bhagavan protects even without asking for protection. In the case of Draupadi and in the case of Gajendra, both called out for protection. But his compassion is so boundless that to a Sharanagata, he protects even without calling for protection. Ambarisha was about to break his Ekadashi Vrata. Ambarisha, a Sharanagata, was about to break his Ekadashi Vrata, and it so happened that Durvasa Muni presented himself there. Durvasa Muni comes always at the wrong time and creates all kinds of problems to everyone. That happens to be his job, it looks like. And then all he said was, wait, and then he went. The time to break the fast is coming, and Ambarisha was in a dilemma. But Ambarisha was also wise. He said, let me break the fast and at the same time please Durvasa. He said, I will sip a water, so a drop of water. Thereby I will break the fast, Ekadashi Vrata. At the same time, I will not consume prasada. I will wait for Durvasa to come. He thought he has done something great. Durvasa walks in and he still gets offended. And Durvasa gets so very offended that he creates a Rakshasa, a demon. And then that demon ambushes Ambarisha. What does Ambarisha do? All that he does is, Hey Vasudeva, Hey Krishna, Rakshamam. He doesn't even call him for protection. And Bhagavan himself decides that his bhakta needs protection. Ambarisha was ready. Hey Krishna, if it is your will that I must die today, so be it. If it is your will that I must live today, so be it. And when we transfer this kind of responsibility to Krishna, he becomes, then his speed is unimaginable. A Sudarsan Chakra immediately comes and then puts an end to the Rakshasa. Ambarisha here does not ask for help. Sharanagata does not even need to pray asking for help. That is the significance of Sharanagati. There is this another famous incident where in spite of repeated tortures, all kinds of repeated tortures. A very little boy. Hiranyakashipu subject Prahlada to unimaginable tortures, unbearable tortures of all kind. Fire, poison, water, stone, snake, whatever we can think of, inflicting all kinds of pain. But Prahlada never called out to Bhagavan saying, hey Bhagavan, come and protect me. Samashrita dhammatarorarantad nissamshayam prapsyatavair mahatpalam asara samsara vivartaneshu mayatadam prasavam brivimi. He says, why should I even call out? Doesn't he know me? Doesn't he know that I need help? Do I need to teach him that I need help? Prahlada was so very evolved as a Sharanagata. He said, why should I? A mother knows when to feed her own baby. When we are inside the womb, do we knock and say, I need food? The mother knows how to feed, when to feed. Everything happens. Prahlada was such a supreme Sharanagata. Never called out for help, but Bhagavan was waiting all the time to help him. Pratyadishta puratana praharana gramaha kshanam panijaihi yavyatrini jaganti akunta mahima vaikunta kanthiravaha. The Vaikunta Kanthirava, the lion in Vaikunta, manifested as man lion in order to help Prahlada. It seems even when he was tearing Hiranyakashipu apart, we may wonder, why did he first tear Hiranyakashipu's heart? We may all wonder. To protect Prahlada, the first thing that Bhagavan did was, he took Hiranyakashipu on his lap and he tore his heart apart. We may wonder, why did Nrsimha do that? The simple reason is to symbolically say that I am still waiting to see if there is some change in his heart. Not towards me, Bhagavan, but towards my bhakta. Because even at that very moment, if there would have been a small change of attitude in Hiranyakashipu, little bit of karuna and love towards his bhakta, he could have got his life saved then and there. Such is the significance of Sharanagati. And if we have to understand the Prapatti Shastra, to understand Sharanagati, the supreme example is to take the example from the Saranagati Shastra, Srimad Ramayana. Parityakta mayalanka mitrani cha dhanani cha bhavadgatam hime rajyam cha jeevitam cha sukhani cha. Vibhishana is possibly the supreme, because in Vibhishana Sharanagati, we see every facet of Sharanagati. Ramayana Sharanagati Shastra and Vibhishana is the supreme Sharanagata. Parityakta mayalanka mitrani cha dhanani cha bhavadgatam hime rajyam cha jeevitam cha sukhani cha. Hey Rama, I have submitted everything to your lotus feet. Lanka, my kingdom, my relatives, my family, my very life, everything is submitted to your lotus feet. And I have nothing to ask. The beauty of Vibhishana Sharanagati is, there is no ask from Vibhishana. Vibhishana did not ask Rama to be crowned as the next king of Lanka. It is Rama who bestowed that. So the supremacy of the Sharanagati of Vibhishana is that there was no ask. Unconditional surrender to Rama. This is why Vibhishana Sharanagati is so very important. This is why Rama clearly declares. He says, Tavasmiti cha yachate. Tavasmi. So whoever says Tavasmi, Bhagavan says, whoever says Tavasmi. What is Tavasmi? Tava asmi. Whoever says, hey Bhagavan, I am yours. Hey Bhagavan, I belong to you. I belong only to you. That is why Tavasmi cha. The chakara is very important. It is not enough to say, hey Bhagavan, I belong to you. I also belong to several other people in this world. That doesn't work. Tavasmi cha. Na mamaha na cha ravanasya. Also, the chakara also says, I belong to you, I belong only to you, and you are my only goal. That is why Rama says, Sakritteva papannaya tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarva-bhūtebhyo. Abhaya, total fearlessness, complete, unfailing, ceaseless protection bestowed by Bhagavan. With this brief introduction, let us now try and see if we can do a deep dive into the Krishna Charama Shloka. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. We need to see how Krishna structures the Gita, and we also see that there is a method, a process in everything that Krishna does. Now, Shloka 1866 is the Charama Shloka. What is Shloka 1865? Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru māmekaṁ satyante pratijane priyosime. Krishna gives a recommendation to Arjuna, Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji. Now, Arjuna looks at Krishna and says, all this is fine, but somehow I am struggling. I am struggling to do Manmana bhava. I am struggling to do madhyaji. Therefore, Krishna says, I understand. That is why I also asked you to do namaskuru. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mam namaskuru has to be underlined in Shloka 65, because mam namaskuru, the expansion of mam namaskuru, is the Charama Shloka. Namaha is the upaya. Namaha is the upaya, the means, and the exposition of this upaya is Charama Shloka. There are three ways to relish Charama Shloka, broadly. First, let us look at briefly the three ways, and then we will do a deep dive. Some people may think he's saying deep dive, deep dive. Introduction itself seems to be a deep dive. When will the deep dive happen? Krishna Sankalpa, it will happen. Three ways to relish. The first way to relish sarva-dharmān, Krishna says, hey Arjuna, sarva-dharmān parityajya. Sarva-dharmān, sarva-dharmān, dharma, dharmān, plural, sarva-dharmān, all categories of dharma. Parityajya. Parityajya means renounce. Tyajya, renounce. Parityajya, well renounce. Renounce it well, in a good manner. We will see what is a good manner. Sarva-dharmān parityajya. Mam, me, ekam, only me, unto me only. Ekam is very, very important here. Mam, ekam, māmekaṁ, unto me. Māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ, not mam śharaṇaṁ. The eka is very important. The evakara is very, very important. Every time we look at Saranagati and any definition of Saranagati, we always see this evakara. Even in the seventh chapter, Devi Hyesha Gunamayi Mamamaya Prapaddaya Mam Evaye Prapadyante. Evakara. Not Mam Prapadyante. Mam Evaye Prapadyante. Similarly, definition of Saranagati. Ahamasmi aparadhanamalayoho akinchano agatihi tvameva upaya bhuto me prarthana. Tvameva. There we are looking at Krishna and saying tvameva. Now Krishna is looking at us and saying māmeva. Eva is very important in any case. Mam eva śharaṇaṁ. Śharaṇaṁ can mean home. Śharaṇaṁ can mean protection. Śharaṇaṁ can mean refuge. Here in this context, śharaṇaṁ is upaya, the means. Śharaṇaṁ vraja. Vraja, accept. Vraja, come. Vraja, go. Vraja, anusandhana, hold on, mentally hold on. Svikara, adopt, accept. Vraja is a multi-dimensional word. We may wonder, why is Krishna saying sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja? Instead of vraja, he could have used many other words. All Krishna is asking Arjuna and all of us is to accept him, svikara, to take his shelter. Why he uses vraja? Because the moment Krishna says śharaṇaṁ, only vraja comes to his mind. There is another meaning for vraja, the vraja bhumi, the blissful land of the gopikas. So therefore, even to Krishna, the gopikas are the supreme examples when it comes to Saranagati. So therefore, instead of using any other word to take, accept, adopt, anusandhana, Krishna says vraja, because he is always in his mind. Gopikas are always there, and therefore is māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja. Ahaṁ, I, tva. There are two versions, tva, tvāṁ. Both are one and the same. Tva, tvāṁ. You. Here, tva is the object, you. Arjuna, all of us. Ahaṁ, tvāṁ, sarva-pāpebhyo. All kinds of papas, all kinds of karma. In fact, Krishna is saying papa, we have to understand it as all karmas, both punya and papas. We will see why. Sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. I shall liberate you from all of this, the shackles of karma. śhuchaḥ. śhuchaḥ, don't be in shoka, don't grieve, do not worry, be happy, celebrate. Now, the first way to relish this Charama Shloka, when Krishna says, sarva-dharmān parityajya, immediately we'll say, what is sarva-dharmān? All the while, Krishna has been preaching as to how we should do dharma. Gita is a dharma shastra. Now he says, sarva-dharmān parityajya, all dharmas, give up, renounce all dharmas. We become very happy now. We don't even need śhuchaḥ. Even before Krishna says śhuchaḥ, we says, enough. Stop there, Krishna. Sarva-dharmān parityajya, enough of Charama Shloka. Because we got the answer. Because why? We know, the Shastras tell us two important things. Akritya karanam, kritya akaranam. These are papas. Akritya karanam. Akritya karanam. When the Shastras say, do not do this, we end up doing it. Kritya akaranam. When the Shastras say, do this, we diligently do not do this. So, when Krishna says, sarva-dharmān parityajya, we are very, very happy. This is exactly what we have been doing, Krishna. This formula is very well known to us. From several lifetimes, we have been doing this. No dharma, no dharmanishta, all, nothing. No naimittika karma, no nitya karma. Only thing that we know of is karma where satisfy all our bodily needs. So now Krishna knows that this is what we could. So therefore, sarva-dharmān parityajya, Krishna says, the dharma that needs to be renounced is not the dharmas of karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. For 18 chapters he has taught. He is not asking us to renounce karma yoga, renounce jnana yoga, renounce bhakti yoga. He is saying we have to renounce the kartrutva, the mamata and the phalasanga. So the first way to understand sarva-dharmān parityajya, karyam ityeva yat karma, niyatam kriyate arjuna, sangam tyaktva palam chaiva, satyagaha satviko mataha. Krishna is talking about satvikatyaga. Satvikatyaga. Renunciation, satvika renunciation. What is satvika renunciation? No, palatyaga. We all do palatyaga. We all, sometimes we say, we renounce possessions. How do we renounce possessions? It's like we go to a palace, we visit the palace, and the king says, be my guest and stay for a few days. We're very happy. The palace is filled with all luxuries. We are there for a few days. And then we walk out. When we are walking out, we proclaim, I renounce all these luxuries here. Somebody will laugh. What is there for you to know? First of all, they don't belong to you. What is there? This is coming out of either ignorance or arrogance. No, we all do the same. We may ask how. Anything and everything that we think we possess actually do not belong to us. So when we say we renounce possessions, what are we renouncing? We have to first own something to renounce something. So therefore, true renunciation is not about giving up possessions. It is giving up the illusion that we can possess. Giving up the illusion that we can possess. No, we need to understand the difference. No, when we have many things with us, the way we look at the things that we have, we can look at the things that we have as our own or as on loan. When we look at the things that we have as our own, then we misuse the resources. Somebody gives me $1 million, I start splurging it. The moment he says, hey, that's a loan, I said, oh my God, now I will stop splurging. I'm very careful because I have to return it. Everything that is given to us is on loan. So the temporary is given as a loan so that I can get something eternal as my own, which is Krishna Bhakti. Renunciation, phalasanga-tyaga, kartritva-tyaga, mamata-tyaga. Doership, realizing that I am not the sole doer. The soul is not the sole doer. S-O-U-L, soul is not the S-O-L-E, sole doer. The soul is not an independent doer. I am dependent on Krishna. He is the doer. Ishvare kartrita buddhihi. Mamata-tyaga. Mamata-tyaga is I do not belong to myself. So therefore, I cannot be the sole cause of the results of my action. I cannot usurp the rewards to myself saying it is my own. I do not have any influence on these results. So therefore, mamata-tyaga. So Krishna, one way to relish sarva-dharmān parityajya is practicing kartritva-tyaga, mamata-tyaga, phalasanga-tyaga. Therefore, doing karma yoga as kaiṅkarya, doing jnana yoga as kaiṅkarya, doing bhakti yoga as kaiṅkarya. We continue to do these dharmas, but at the same time, do it for His pleasure, not for my sake. When you lead your life based on this principle, hey Arjuna, ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. I shall liberate you from the shackles of karma, from the shackles of samsara bandhana. This is one way to understand sarva-dharmān parityajya. Here if you see, śharaṇagati, Prapatti is anga Prapatti. Few minutes back I talked about 2 Prapattis. We have to constantly, this is also a test for all of us to be awake. Anga Prapatti, when did I hear this? No, today only we heard, not yesterday. Anga Prapatti, Anga, which means ancillary. Bhakti Yoga is the main. Saranagati is the ancillary. Why? Because this ancillary of Prapatti is essentially ensuring that by doing Bhakti Yoga, I attain Bhagavan. Now Krishna says, māmekaṁ satyante pratijāne. Now even when we do Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, there is one final challenge that is almost impossible for us to overcome. What is that challenge? Narupamasyeha tato na labhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta ashvattamenam suvirudha moolam asangachastrena dridena chitva. The ashwattha tree, samsara is like an inverted ashwattha tree. It is multi-rooted, deep-rooted, firm-rooted. Now, how do I cut this tree of samsara? With the axe of detachment. Now, I can cut with an axe of detachment, I can cut 1 root, 2 root, 3 root. How can I cut millions and millions of roots? It is firm-rooted, deep-rooted, multi-rooted. I keep cutting, keep cutting. This one janma is not enough. Hey Krishna, what kind of a solution is this? This is essentially you're setting me to fail. Asangashastrena dridhena chitva tatah padam tat parimargitarvyam yasmin gatana nivartanti boyah tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatha pravrittihi tasrita purani. Krishna gives the solution. He says, Arjuna, little patience. Arjuna, the solution is very simple. Yes, I told the solution is to cut this deep-rooted, firm-rooted, multi-rooted tree with an axe of detachment. But I have not completed. You don't need to cut it, I will cut it for you. You relax. Let me cut it for you. So, we do karma yoga, we do jnana yoga, we do bhakti yoga, but then suddenly we realize prarabdha karma will be exhausted, and I am also not going to accumulate any new karma because I am doing sadhanas. There is something called sanchita karma. Massive load of papas and punyas that I have accumulated not in one lifetime, in innumerable lifetimes. What is going to happen to that sanchita karma, Hey Krishna? Ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. That is not your job, that is my job, Krishna says. So, Anga Prapatti is essentially when we do karma yoga, jnana yoga, and eventually bhakti yoga, still for us to get liberated from samsara, that massive load of sanchita karma has to vanish. Otherwise, a part of that will fructify and become prarabdha, and once again will take birth. So Krishna says, don't worry. When you do surrender to me, it is my job to completely eradicate the sanchita karma. Sarva-pāpebhyo there, Krishna is therefore Anga Prapatti. So the first way to relish Charama Shloka is to understand that the injunction of Anga Prapatti. Second way to understand Charama Shloka is Arjuna has been told that you need to practice bhakti, loving devotional service to me. Manmana bhavad bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuro māmekaṁ satyante pratijane priyosi me. Bhaktyatvananya shakya ahamevam vidorjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. So it is very clear that I have to do bhakti to Bhagavan. But somehow bhakti seems to be not blossoming in my heart. I am trying. I am putting in a lot of effort. I come to satsang regularly. But still, there seems to be some distance between me and Krishna. That natural affinity for Krishna seems to be somehow lacking. Is there something wrong that I am doing? No, this is exactly Arjuna seems to be worried. Shoka. How am I qualified? Bhakti requires a lot of purification. There can be a very powerful magnet, but if I bring a nail which is covered with multi-layered dirt, the nail is not going to be attracted by the magnet. It is not the fault of the magnet. It is the fault of the layers of dirt. Krishna, the Bhuvana Sundara, naturally attracts. But I may wonder, why is my attraction towards him seems to be weaker? Why is not bhakti blossoming in me? Because of anadikala papas that have occupied my own consciousness. My own consciousness is covered by not one layer, multi-layers. Who is going to remove the dirt? Who is going to clean all these layers of dirt so that the nail, the moment the layers of dirt are gone, nothing needs to be done. Zoop, the nail will go and stick to the magnet instantaneously. Krishna looks at Arjuna and says, I understand your predicament, Arjuna. Mokṣhayiṣhyāmi sarva-pāpebhyo śhuchaḥ. So, do not worry, Arjuna. Whatever is stopping the blossoming of bhakti in you, I will ensure that those obstacles are also taken care. I will remove them as well so that bhakti can blossom in you. Because bhakti is our natural state. And we are in an unnatural state. It's like we lead our lives walking with one leg. You may all laugh. Hey, what is this walking with one leg? That's exactly what we are doing. We are all walking with one leg because not knowing what is our natural state. Krishna is saying, you don't need any support. I am your support to walk two-legged. I am your support. I will ensure that anything that comes in the way of bhakti sprouting, it is my job. Therefore, Krishna says, I am not only the magnet that attracts, I am that special magnet which also cleanses and purifies you. You will not find any other magnet anywhere. That is why he is Shriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nidhi. Kalyana Nidhi. He is full of auspicious qualities, innumerable auspicious qualities. He is Shriyah Kanta. Obviously, he is Shri's Kanta. He is our Kanta too, because Shri represents all of us. And he is that magnet who not only attracts us, he also cleanses. So therefore, sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. Bhakti virodhi papas are also taken care of. So therefore, in the first instance, Saranagati, Prapatti comes to help us remove the obstacles to attain him. In the second instance, that is Anga Prapatti. In the second instance, Anga Prapatti means it is essentially a complement to Bhakti. In the second instance is a prerequisite for Bhakti. Bhakti is blossoming only after I do Sharanagati. So, I do Sharanagati, and because of my Sharanagati, I become a Bhakta. But there is another and most significant way to relish the Charama Shloka, which is the third way of relishing Charama Shloka. Sarva-dharmān parityajya essentially does not mean renouncing the dharmas that we need to do. It is recognizing our utter helplessness, incapability, inadequacy, and limitations of our own effort. There is only so much that we can do with our limited capabilities. Therefore, self-effort is something which is not really going to help us attain moksha. To understand this, our acharyas have given us a very, very beautiful and interesting analogy. This is what we call two principles, two nyayas. Markata Kishora Nyaya, Marjala Kishora Nyaya. Write it down. Markata Kishora Nyaya, Marjala Kishora Nyaya. What is Markata? Markata means monkey. Marjala means cat. Markata Kishora, baby monkey. Marjala Kishora, kitten, baby cat. Markata Kishora Nyaya, Marjala Kishora Nyaya. What are these two principles? Now we can learn something very important, significant, profound from a baby monkey and a baby cat. Something very profound on Saranagati. Now when we observe a baby monkey and a baby cat, we observe something very contrasting. In the case of both the babies, the baby monkey Markata Kishora, Marjala Kishora, both these cannot move on their own. A baby monkey needs a mother monkey to carry it. A kitten also needs the mother cat to carry it. Both cannot do anything on their own, and both completely surrender to their mothers. But there is one distinction between the two. In the case of Markata Kishora, the baby monkey, if we notice, when we go to many of these Punya Kshetras, we can easily see this. The mother monkey is moving, jumping from one tree to the other. The baby monkey is also going along with it. But we see that baby monkey is actually holding on to the mother monkey. The baby monkey has surrendered to the mother monkey. It is the mother monkey which is carrying the baby monkey. But the baby monkey is firmly holding on to the mother monkey. This is Markata Kishora Nyaya. Marjala Kishora. When we look at how a kitten moves from one place to the other, the kitten is blissfully there at one place. The cat goes gently picks it up with its teeth without hurting it, gently picks up the neck, holds the neck, gently picks it up. The baby cat does nothing. It is just blissful, and it is transferred from one place to the other. Wherever it needs to go, it is taken care. These two contrasting principles present a progressive stage of Saranagati. In the first stage, we surrender to Krishna, but we are also depending on our self-effort. No, Draupadi, Kauravarnavamagnam Mam Uddharashva Janardana, she was holding on to the sari. Holding on. There is still self-effort. And then, He Shankachakra Gadapane Dwarakanalaya Achyuta Govinda Pundarikakshara Kshamam Sharanagatam. When she lifted both her hands, no self-effort. The first stage, there is still that little bit of an ego which says, I can do it. I can do it. There's something that, I cannot give up that easily. And then slowly we progress from that stage to the final stage where we recognize the futility of our own self-effort. And then we are like a Marjala Kishora, completely, blissfully aware of his unfailing protection. So, sarva-dharmān parityajya essentially is saying, everything that I can do with my self-effort, parityajya. I renounce my self-effort completely, hey Krishna, and I surrender to you. You and only you can protect me. You and only you can cross me over from one end of samsara to the other end of samsara. Samashritat padapallava plavam mahatpadam punyayasho murare bhavam mudir vatsapadam parampadam padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Brahma himself surrenders to Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, bhavam mudir vatsapadam parampadam. Samsara, this is a very beautiful shloka, very rhyming as well. Samashritadye padapallava plavam mahatpadam punyayasho murare padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Padam padam yat vipadam. Every step I take in samsara is an adversity. It's like mines everywhere. Imagine we have to walk and there are mines everywhere. One step I put, boom. Second step I put, boom. Mines everywhere. That is samsara. There is no way I can cross over this minefield, hey Krishna. But whereas this minefield, which is like a massive ocean, impossible for me. Samashritat padapallava plavam. The moment I surrender to your lotus feet, like a Marjala Kishora, you will carry me from this end to the other end. Successfully, comfortably, blissfully. It is your responsibility. Therefore, māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. Now the introductory part to Charama Shloka is over. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. Now we have to do a deep dive. We will do how much ever possible and we will continue the journey. Sarva-dharmān. Sarva-dharmān. Athato dharma jignāsa. The Purva Mīmānsa starts asking the question, what is dharma? Athato. Now, therefore, the inquiry into dharma begins. So, there are two Mīmāmsa Shastras. Both are very important. Purva Mīmāmsa, Uttara Mīmāmsa. Purva Mīmāmsa is Dharma Shastra. Uttara Mīmāmsa is Brahma Shastra. Brahma Jnana. So, Athato Dharma Jignasa. What is Dharma? Chodana Lakshanartho Dharmaha. That which leads me to a desired state of unending happiness without any suffering. That injunction is dharma. That prescription given by our Shastras, which is the means for me to reach a desired state of everlasting happiness is dharma. Now we need to look at everything and see, is that dharma? Is it leading me to the most desired state of everlasting happiness? So nothing that we can do in this world then qualifies for dharma. Now sarva-dharmān, dharma, Krishna is not saying dharma parityajya, is not saying, he's saying dharmān parityajya. There are three facets: dharma, dharmān, sarva-dharmān. Dharma is singular, dharmān plural, which means all dharmas, all categories of dharmas. What are the various categories of dharmas? Krishna himself has taught all kinds of dharmas: karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, and he also taught, here dharma is moksha sadhana. This is, we are now not talking about, we have come to Charama Shloka. So there is no more discussion on artha and kama. Before, when we talk of dharma, yes, dharma for artha, dharma for kama. Now the focus is very clear. Moksha sadhanas, the dharma as moksha sadhana is being discussed. So therefore, all moksha sadhanas like karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, also avatara rahasya, also Krishna says, janma karma cha me divyam yevam yoveti tattvah tyakpadeham punarjanma naiti māmeti sorjuna. Avatara rahasya, also purushottama yoga, everything that Krishna taught, also everything that other shastras have taught as moksha sadhana. Śhravanam, kirtanam, vishnoho, smaranam, pada sevanam, marchanam, mandanam, shakyam, dasyam, atma nivedanam. All of these come under dharman. Anything and everything which becomes sadhana means for moksha. Now, with dharman, which is a plural, Krishna has included everything. Why sarva-dharmān? Sarva means all. Already dharman being plural, why do we need another adjective? Dharma, dharman, sarva-dharmān. Why do we need an adjective of all dharmas? Krishna is very clear. For all these moksha sadhanas, there are some prerequisites that are required. There are some basic prerequisites of nitya karma and naimityika karma. Prerequisites of panchamahayajna. We may think panchamahayajna is not relevant to today's world. Panchamahayajna is essentially showing gratitude to Bhagavan, showing gratitude to Rishi, showing gratitude to fellow human being, essentially being rooted to the attitude of gratitude. So these are all prerequisites. Panchamahayajna, nitya karmas. The less we talk about nitya karma, the better, because Sandhya Vandana, what is Sandhya Vandana? Questions will be asked, very difficult questions. Nitya karma, naimityika karma, they are all purificatory dharmas for the moksha sadhanas. So by adding sarva, Krishna is not leaving out anything. He is saying all moksha sadhanas and the prerequisites for moksha sadhanas all bundled into one. Sarva-dharmān. Parityajya. Parityajya. Tyajya, tyaga, renunciation. Parityajya, essentially, renounce it well, Krishna is saying. Renunciation, I understand. What is renunciation? Doing it in the right manner. What is good renunciation? Renounce it well. Parityajya. Parityajya, this is where Krishna is talking about completely leaving out all sadhyopayas. The siddhopaya is available to us. Siddhopaya, again, going back to the introduction. Sadhyopaya, siddhopaya. Sadhyopaya, all the upayas where we put effort, self-effort. Siddhopaya, something which is available to us for free, without any effort, eternally available. That is siddhopaya. So parityajya, renouncing all efforts, all sadhanas where self-effort is required. Essentially recognizing or being aware of our true nature. Our true nature is what Shastras call Paratantriya. Swatantra, we all know, because that's a very often used word. Swatantriya means freedom. Opposite of Swatantriya is Paratantriya. Dependence, total dependence. Our nature is Paratantriya. We are totally dependent on Bhagavan because we are a part that belongs to the whole. The part has no independence of its own. It is totally dependent. When we are totally dependent on Him, then there is no need for anything else other than Him. That is why the Jitante says, Jitante Pundarikaksha. Hey Pundarikaksha, Jitante, may you win, may you conquer me. I am ready to be defeated by you. Hey Bhagavan, I am ready to be defeated by you, because instead of being defeated by the world, which is the real defeat, in my defeat to you lies my actual victory. This is the highest wisdom. When we say Jitante Pundarikaksha, Namaste Vishwabhavana, Namaste Stu Rishikesha, Mahapurusha Purvaja, we are willingly saying, conquer me, hey Krishna, conquer me. When you conquer my senses, because if you don't conquer my senses, the world is going to conquer my senses. If I get defeated by the world, I am doomed. But if I get defeated by you, I win. Because I am totally dependent on you. And when I am totally dependent on you, I don't need anything else. When we do not let go of sadhyopaya, there are two things that happen. That self-effort will come in the way of Bhagavan's grace. We can understand this from Ramayana. We all know Rama Ravana Yuddha, the first time when it happened, Rama destroyed Ravana's chariot and Ravana was helpless on the battlefield. And Ravana was standing there and Rama was continuing to shoot arrow after arrow, arrow after arrow. Ravana was wondering, what is going on? He is supposed to be Maryada Purushottama. He knows Dharma. I am standing here and I am unable to fight back, but he is still shooting me. Arrows sending all over, missiles coming all over. Then Ravana realizes that he is holding on to his bow. And then, in that realization, he lets go of his bow. Rama stops. Until Ravana was holding on to the bow, Rama knows that he is trying to put his own self-effort. The moment he drops it, Rama knows. No, this is the difference between Siddhopaya and Sadhyopaya. Sadhya, the moment we keep saying, hey Krishna, wait, I will struggle, I will struggle, I will struggle. Krishna says, struggle, I will wait for you. Until you stop and say, hey, Rakshamam Sharanagatam. So, therefore, parityajya, that is why well, in a good manner, not just renouncing everything, it is renouncing that upayatva of everything else. Recognizing that my upaya is Krishna and Krishna alone. Also, if we adopt other dharmas, there is a danger of us losing the ultimate goal. There are many examples for this. Foolish Dasharatha, by holding on to his dharma of keeping promises, he lost on the actual dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. All that he could have done is Visesha Dharma. Rama is there. He held on to Samanya Dharma and lost Rama forever. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. So therefore, parityajya, when Bhagavan, sarva-dharmān parityajya, sarva also means, sarva is also opposite of all, which is one. What is that one? Yeche vedavido vipraha, yeche adhyatmavido janaha, evadanti mahatmanam, krishnam dharmam sanatanam. Sarva-dharmān parityajya means renouncing every other dharma and holding on to that dharma, the only dharma, which is the eternal dharma, krishnam dharmam sanatanam. That Krishna is the Siddhopaya, he is my dharma. Sarva-dharmān parityajya. Māmekaṁ, Mam. Mam Shabda is so very important. Krishna is looking at Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, sarva-dharmān parityajya, Mam. He's saying, hey Arjuna, I am here for you. I am here for you. I am ready to do whatever you need. I am here as your protector. Bhagavan renounces his godhood and is ready to become subservient to his devotees. Otherwise, why would he have become a charioteer? He is ready to renounce for our sake in order to do everything and anything for us. So, Mam, he is looking at Arjuna and says, I am available to you. And Arjuna is little worried. He is looking at Krishna and says, but hey Krishna, I am a bundle of imperfections. I have so many doshas. I am very impure. He says, that impurity of yours is my bhogya. That impurity of yours is my bhogya. It's like, a little child is fully soiled and looking at the mother and says, Mother, I'm fully soiled. Mother says, don't worry, come, embrace. She gives a tight hug. She doesn't, she accepts the dirt, the impurities, everything that is soiled of the baby. And she takes joy in that acceptance. Bhagavan is like that. He's saying, Mom, Arjuna. He's talking about me, I, hey Arjuna, who I am endowed with 4 important qualities which are required for one to be a Sharanagata Vatsala. 4 important qualities: Swamitva, Vatsalya, Saushilya, Saulabhya. Vatsalya. I am endowed with Vatsalya Guna. Because why? Your doshas become my bhogya. I accept you as you are. Does not matter what is your baggage that you are carrying. Your defects, imperfections, impurities, all are mine. I take over everything as you are. Vatsalya Guna, boundless love. Swamitva, at the same time, I am the Swami. I am the one who can protect you. You don't need to be worried. Don't need to doubt. Vatsalya alone is not enough. Swamitva also is required. Saushilya. See, I am here as a charioteer, freely mixing with you. Saketi matva prasabham yaduktam. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi. Arjuna did not understand Krishna. He said, hey Krishna, hey Yadava. He was calling him as Yadava, as Krishna. And when Krishna was there, sitting as a charioteer, Arjuna, without even knowing or unknowingly or knowingly, was even touching him with his feet, disrespecting him. Arjuna says, hey Bhagavan, pardon me. I did not realize. Krishna says, you do not need to worry. Hey Arjuna, ma śhuchaḥ. My Saushilya Guna will ensure that I completely act. I see no discriminations whatsoever. The most important guna of Saulabhya, being accessible whenever and wherever the devotee wants. Tribhuvana kamanam tamala varanam ravikara gaurava rambaram dadani vapuraka kulavratananabjam vijaya sake ratirastume anavadya. That Bhishmacharya, during his Antima Smriti, he is visualizing Krishna. Tribhuvana kamanam tamala varanam ravikara gaurava rambaram dadani. Hey Bhuvana Sundara, how can I describe your infinite beauty? How can I describe your enchanting, electrifying, eternally beautiful form? Ravikara gaurava rambaram dadani vapuralaka kulavratananabjam. So beautiful you are. I also recognize that you are Vijaya Sakhe. I surrender to you, Vijaya Sakha. What an honor for Arjuna to be called Vijaya Sakha. That Saulabhya of Bhagavan is immeasurable. Yudituragarajo vidhumra vishwak. He looks at, he is visualizing Krishna. Yudituragarajo vidhumra vishwak. Kachalulita shamavari alankritasye. Mama nishita sharair vibidhyamana. He says, Kvachivilasat kavachestu Krishna Atma. Krishna, on the battlefield, how can I describe your saulabhya? You are so accessible to me when I needed you, and I was throwing arrows at you, and you were accepting as if I was throwing flowers at you. And when I looked at you, Yudhituragarajo vidhumra vishwak. It seems with all the dust that was created by the hoofs of the horses on the battlefield, Krishna's glorious hair was wavy. This hair was wavy, flowing all over, at the same time ashen and dusted all over. And in that, with all the effort as the Sarathi, it seems he was perspiring, and Bhishma is saying, those beads of sweat were alankara on your beautiful face, hey Krishna. And not only that, that decorations were intensified with the wounds inflicted by my own arrows. If we need to experience this, we have to go to Vrindavaranya Kshetram in Chennai. Parthasarathy, even today, he is there. How he presented himself to Bhishma with the wounds of the arrow marks on his face. Bhishma says, those wounds became your decorations. And how can I even explain your saulabhya, that you are accessible to me, accepting everything through you? How can I even imagine? That is when Krishna says, sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ. Hey Arjuna, that is me. You throw offenses at me, I will shower blessings at you. This is me. I am always accessible to you, and I am accessible to you here and now. Mom, he's not showing, he's not saying you have to surrender to Vaikunthanatha. Where will I go? Or you have to go and surrender to Ksheerabdhinatha. How will I go to Ksheerabdi? Or you have to surrender to your Antaryami. Where is my Antaryami? Impossible for me to comprehend. So therefore, he says, I present divine forms, the forms that are so very enchanting, thereby you can get attracted to my form and surrender to my lotus feet. Māṁ, sarva-dharmān parityajya māṁ ekaṁ. Immediately ekaṁ follows. He doesn't stop at māṁ because he knows that we have chanchala buddhi. One day we surrender to Krishna, the next day we are surrendering to somebody else. Or something else, not somebody, something else, because we are all in a state of surrender to all the objects that we think we own. So here, very important here, do not surrender to anyone or anything. Māṁ ekaṁ, this ekaṁ is so very important. Now, earlier with sarva-dharmān, he is already covered. Sarva-dharmān parityajya, all kinds of other upayas, other sadhanas are to be renounced. So why again ekaṁ? We need to understand that we may end up thinking, I surrender to Krishna, therefore there is moksha that I can attain. So is my surrender the means? If I don't surrender to Krishna, then I won't get moksha. So therefore I conclude wrongly that my surrender to Krishna is the upaya. Krishna says, no, that is wrong understanding, hey Arjuna. That is why sarva-dharmān parityajya māṁ ekaṁ. Even your surrender is not the means. No, Arjuna is a little confused, like some of us. He says, okay, hey Krishna, be clear. I know that I have to detach from the world and then I have to attach to you. Is detaching from the world the upaya or attaching to you is the upaya? Please be very clear. No, Arjuna is very clever. He wants to ask some very clever questions. Krishna immediately says, neither attaching to the world is the upaya, nor neither detaching from the world is the upaya, nor attaching to me is the upaya. The one who made you to detach from the world and attached to me, that me is the upaya. That is why māṁ ekaṁ. The ekaṁ here essentially says there is no other upaya. Krishnam Dharmam Sanatanam. Dharma the Upaya, he is the Upaya. That is why māmekaṁ, the Evakara is very, very important to be underlined, because it also shows that it is his nirhetuka kripa. When Krishna says, I am the Upaya, it is his kripa which is the Upaya. Now, his kripa again is a question that we ask. Is it sahetuka or is it nirhetuka? Now, what is sahetuka, nirhetuka? Hetu means cause. Sahetuka, is there a cause for his grace? Is there a prerequisite for his grace, or is his grace causeless, no prerequisite? Now, if we say he is nirhetuka, that suddenly we will say nirhetuka, which means there is no cause for his grace. So maybe he is partial. If there is no cause, they say, the Shastra say, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha na medaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishabhrate tena labhyaha tasya isya atma vivrute tanuswam. Bhagavan chooses us, we can't choose him. Then is he partial? Which means if his grace has no cause, then how do I understand this? On the other hand, if his grace is sahetuka, if his grace has a cause, that cause becomes another upaya. Now he is already declared māmekaṁ, which means there is no other upaya. So I cannot do something else to get his grace. If I do something else to get his grace, that doing, that something else will become the cause, which means there is another upaya. Then sarva-dharmān parityajya will go for a toss. So how do I then understand this? Krishna is very clear. Nirhetuka kripa. Now for this nirhetuka, his grace is causeless. But for this causeless grace, we don't need to do anything. All that we need to do is come to a state of awareness. It is not doing, it is a state of svikara buddhi. Svikara. How can we understand with a very simple analogy? A child is walking along with his father on the road. Whether the child asks or not, the father will hold the child and walk. This is nirhetuka kripa. Now, Krishna looks at us and says, now, what is that? Why should I give you moksha? You have surrendered to me, you are saying, but why should I give you moksha? Then we say, no, you have to give me moksha because you have promised that when I surrendered to you in a state of awareness that I am akinchanaha and I have no gati. Akinchano agatihi. Akinchanyam agatitvam. Both these are the two that I have. I am helpless and I have no other refuge, so I surrender. No, what else do you have? Why should I give you moksha? Yes. Now, if you ask me a question like this, Krishna, I have many things. I don't want to list it. No, if I start listing what I have everything that I should not have. The list will go on and on. This is not. Think. What do you have that I should give? Well, I know that I do not have anything that I need that you are asking for. I have many other things. But there is one thing I have, that sambandha with you. What more that I have that you have? I also have that mahavishwasa in your lotus feet. I have your lotus feet. Is that all? Yes, I know that when I hold on to your lotus feet, you will give me jnana. I know that when I hold on to your lotus feet, you will also give me kainkarya. Krishna says, if everything I have to give, what is that you will do? Then we say, hey Krishna, all that we can do is not let our ego come in the way of you helping us. This is the only thing we can do. It is like all that the child who is crossing the road with his father, the father is holding on. All that the child needs to do is not prevent the father holding on to the child. So therefore, Bhagavan's kripa is nirhetuka. All that we need to do is recognize our akinchanya ananyagatitva and not let our ego come in the way of him protecting us. Otherwise, like what he did for Prahlada, what he did for Ambarisha, he will do for us. He will protect us even if we don't call for his protection. So therefore, Ekam very clearly highlighting to Bhagavan that, hey Bhagavan, you and you alone are the upaya. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ. Māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ. Sharana. Here, Sharana Shabda stands for sadhana, upaya. While Sharana can mean shelter, Sharana can mean home, here specifically it stands for the sadhana. Sharanam. Bhagavan is the sadhana. He is the moksha sadhana. Sharanam. Māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja. Māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja. Vraja anusandhana. Holding on to his lotus feet. Mentally. Holding on to his lotus feet. Anusandhana. Accepting. Svikara. All that we need to do is accept his shelter. The shelter is there. We don't need to go searching for shelter. The shelter is there. Wherever we are. No, this is why Saranagati is so very beautiful. There are no prerequisites whatsoever. No prerequisites of any kind. All that Saranagati, any place, any time, anyone can do Saranagati. The only requirement for Saranagati is mumukshatva, desire for moksha, that Krishna Trishna, that longing for Krishna. And here, when he says Sharanam Vraja, accepting that shelter which is already there, accepting Bhagavan as the upaya which is ever there, accepting Siddhopaya, completely renouncing all the Sadhyopayas. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ. Ahaṁ also equally important. While Mam is important, Aham is also important. Because looked at Arjuna and said, Krishna says, Mam, hey Arjuna, I am very, very accessible, very, very much available. I am there at your beck and call. I will do whatever you command. I am there accepting you. Then Arjuna, like all of us, say, hey, mil gaya. No? Now I am the master. He is, he is somebody who is subordinate to me. For a moment, that Paramapurusha, that Purushottama, the Sarvavit, the Sarvajnaha, the Sarvarakshaha, the Sarvaseshi, the Sarvadhara, the Sarvaniyanta, who is boundless, who is peerless, who is blemishless, is ready to submit for the sake of love, we may mistake and not understand his paratva. He says, Aham, hey Arjuna, Mam, Aham. Immediately there, Arjuna, Aham. No, I am the one. Mattah parataram nanyati kinchidasti dhananjaya. Mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaiva. You must realize my paratva. Arjuna, it is very important. Aham, I am the one. Akilaheya pratyanika kalyanekatana svetara samastavastu vilakshana ananta jnananandaika swarupa. I am that omniscient, omnipotent, omnibenevolent. I am the one who is endowed with all the auspicious qualities to ensure that you stay protected. I am the one who has taken the pledge to protect you, and I am capable of keeping that pledge. I am the one who can give you that Shraddha and grow that Shraddha, and therefore your Mahavishwasa will not be shaken at all. Aham, hey Arjuna, realize I am Krishna, Krishna Paramatma. I am Vasudeva Krishna, but not son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva, Bhagavan Narayana, Vaikunthanatha. Aham, Tva, hey Arjuna, Tva, you who is by design limited, with limited capabilities, who has very limited resources to achieve moksha. You have so many limitations, such as that is you. Aham, Tva, sarva-pāpebhyo. Why? You could have said papa, papebhyo, sarva-pāpebhyo. sarva-pāpebhyo, all kinds of papas, all kinds of karma, all kinds of vasana, all kinds of ruchi, all kinds of prakriti sambandha. Jnana virodhi papa, ruchi virodhi papa, upaya virodhi papa, prapti virodhi papa. 4 kinds of papas. We may say only 4 kinds of papas. We have accumulated many papas, innumerable. No, they can be classified into 4. So that easily we can say 4. We think 4. No, we have 40,000, no, 4 million. No, our papas are endless. But we can simplify and say 4 categories. Jnana virodhi papas. The papas that come and obscure our jnana of tattva hita purushartha. No wonder we struggle to understand the nature of reality because of the papas which blind us to reality. We are stuck at the material level. We are stuck. Our consciousness is trapped in materialism. Jnana virodhi, tattva, hita. We do not know what is the right means. Purushartha. What is the goal in life? We don't even know. Why? Because of various papas. These are jnana virodhi papas. Ruchi virodhi papas. We have good ruchi for everything which is material. This ruchi has to be transformed. Spiritual progress is a test of taste. Taste for the world has to be transformed to the taste for the world maker. Krishna ruchi. We need to develop that ruchi for Krishna, and there are so many papas which act as hindrance for Krishna ruchi. Krishna prasada ruchi also comes very easily. Krishna ruchi comes a little difficult. But through Krishna prasada ruchi, eventually Krishna ruchi also comes. So it is good to have Krishna prasada ruchi. Time for prasada is there. Nice prasada we have. That celebration is going to happen. But through Krishna prasada, let us be reminded of Krishna ruchi. Ruchi virodhi papa. Jnana virodhi papa. Ruchi virodhi papa. Upaya virodhi papa. Upaya here is connecting to Krishna. I want to come to satsang, but suddenly I have so many things happening all around. Therefore, it becomes difficult. Choice making. How do I choose this over the other? Upaya virodhi papa. And finally, prapti virodhi papa. I do everything possible. I have run the marathon. And then I finally realize that at the finishing line, instead of saying finishing line, there is a welcome to another start. 10 kilometers marathon I have run. I am very jubilant. And then I am looking for the finishing line. It says welcome. I said, what welcome? Another start again. I will be completely crestfallen. Similarly, after doing everything, sanchita karma, the baggage, that is the prapti virodhi papa. It is, we cannot do anything about it. We cannot do anything about it. Why? Because it is completely out of our control. And the design is in such a way that if it doesn't vanish, there is no archiradi. There is only bye-bye, archiradi bye-bye, dhumadi welcome. And therefore, the papa of which comes in the way of prapti, Krishna prapti. Krishna says, I have already made a promise. Māmekaṁ satyante pratijāne priyosime. I have made that pledge. Sakriteva prapannāya tavāsmīti chayāchate. Abhayam sarva-bhūtebhyo dadāmyetat pratam mama. Site manasi sushpaste sharire satiyoraraha dhatu samye site smarta vishwarupam cha māmekaṁ tatastam riyamānam tu kāṣṭapāṣāna sannibam ahaṁ smaravi madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. Kāṣṭapāṣāna sannibam. Even when a time comes when we become stone-like, log-like, incapable of doing anything, He will hold us and take us home through the Acharadi. So therefore, that is His promise. Therefore, He says, sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. No, mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. He does not say mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. Mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. essentially saying, Arjuna, neither you need to do any effort, nor I need to do any effort, because I am Satya Sankalpa. Bhagavan presents himself through two ways, Anugraha, Nigraha. When he presents his Nigraha Rupa, essentially he is Karma Phaladata. Depending on our punyas and our papas, he essentially gives the necessary rewards. He takes care of the workings of the law of karma. This is his Nigraha Rupa. When he presents his Anugraha Rupa, he is so compassionate that he is ready to completely eradicate all the karmas in our baggage so that we don't need to take another birth ever again. So therefore, when he says, mokṣhayiṣhyāmi, I shall grant the freedom from the shackles of karma bandhana. The responsibility of exiting this samsara is no longer yours, hey Arjuna. It is my responsibility. Therefore, ma śhuchaḥ. Hey Arjuna, why should you worry? I am asking you not to do anything. If you have to do something, you should be worried. Also, you should be worried if I do not do anything. Neither is the case. I will do as per my promise. You don't need to do anything that is required. Where is the need to worry? Ma śhuchaḥ. Do not grieve. Do not doubt. Do not hesitate. Do not be fearful. I am there for you. Surrender to me. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ. Krishna says, mokṣhayiṣhyāmi. He says, I will liberate you from the shackles of samsara bandhana. He does not say, I will liberate you now. You are liberated now. He says, I will liberate you. Why is Krishna saying that? Because picture abhi kafi baki hai. We will continue to relish the Charama Shloka in the next session. Until then, let us all keep contemplating on that Uttama Shloka, who is Krishna, who has given us that Charama Shloka, which will ensure that every kind of shoka will vanish forever. Let us chant together. Sarva-dharmān parityajya māmekaṁ śharaṇaṁ vraja ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo mokṣhayiṣhyāmi śhuchaḥ.